All right, so this was we used to go to Same Day Extra Trivia Night, and I had gotten there first. And I went to the bar, had like my first drink. Halfway through, the rest of them start filtering in, and I am, for some reason, in a good mood.
Pleasant. He was actually pleasant.
I was pleasant and friendly and outgoing.
Now I know why they cut you off.
Basically, yeah. They looked at me, it's like, how many of you had? It's like, most of one? It's like, I'm sorry, we're going to have to, you can't have any more.
Yeah, we shut him off for the whole fucking night because we were like, dude, I don't think it's okay for you to try. Why are you happy?
And the best thing is, one of our trivia team was a bartender from another place. She has gotten me way, way, way past drunker than that, and probably should have cut me off at some point.
Yeah.
And yet, this is the only time she had ever actually stopped me from drinking.
And she wasn't on the other side of the bar?
No,
she was on the team.
Now, mind you,
It was amazing.
I think part of it was that at that point, what I was drinking, she was drinking.
Right.
God bless. Like every
Was it a margarita? Or
no. I mean, back when she was bartending, anything I was drinking, she was filling a little kitty cup with whatever was left in the mixed drink.
I got
So
you.
it's one of those things where, I'm not saying I drank an entire bottle of vodka and never paid for it, but it's the reason they stopped carrying blueberry vodka for like 2 years.
Is it AAA blueberry?
Oh, God. Dude, it was whatever they were pouring it. I didn't care. I wasn't asking.
Blueberry.
That AAA blueberry shit. I mean...
I'm going to say Stoli.
Yeah. Oh, my God, either way. Hey, this is the Bar Talk Podcast. I am one of your hosts, Jordan Shabbat, joined by my regular, always showing up host, shows up more than I do, Dan Mahoney.
Yo, dog.
And we've got Andy Driscoll here of the Inebri-Art podcast, and also
Sitting in for Carl.
Thank you. And as always, we have Fish over there, who just shared his amazing story about being shut off. And I think we should start this podcast about shut-off stories.
Well, I was just thinking that. I'm like, we didn't really have a topic in mind. Maybe we'll talk about our ragers.
Yeah, why not? Either us being shut off or people we have shut off. But I think I've been shut off more times than I've shut people off. I don't know. How about you, Dan?
No, I've never been shut off. I've actually...
I've never been shut off either.
I legit... So
Never.
I paid
Jesus
a
Christ,
bartender...
This is a bad idea for a topic.
Believe me, I should have been multiple times.
I've only been shut off on my first drink.
That's so I
Repeatedly.
I paid a bartender at a wedding to stop serving me drinks because I have to work the next day, and I don't have the self-control to not drink. So here's $20. Just give me ginger ale or whatever. And like, wait, what? I'm like, yeah. Right now, I know I don't need any more to drink, but in 10 minutes, I'm gonna forget we talked about this, and I'm gonna come back for more drinks.
Well,
That's a good move.
that's a great move. But my problem is, by the time I get to that point, all good decisions are out the window.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
why I did it when I knew I could. I shouldn't drink
What
anymore.
is the drunkest you've ever been?
Oh, man. All right. I got one. So, let's go into the flashback machine 10 years ago. Instead of 13 hairs on my chin, I had, let's say, 9. And I was big into the new craft beer scene, and they do these big craft beer convention shows in Providence at the Providence Convention Center. Now, these craft beer shows, 100 breweries show up. They bring specialty beers, but it's mostly just, it's kind of like a convention. It's the convention center. So this is when the craft beer boom really started. There was a day session, which was from 1 o'clock until 4, and then there was a night session, which was from 7 o'clock until 10. I went to both, and so I went to the first session, and I went with a few friends of mine, and it was from 1 to 4, and I was supposed to work at 5 in Swansea, which was about maybe 15 minutes away from Providence. So I go to the first session, tie on a nice buzz, drink, they give you little sample sizes, probably drink 100 sample sizes of beer, whatever. You get one tied on really quick, and you think you're getting these little samples, and you're waiting in line.
Yeah.
It catches up with you an hour in, and it's like a Friday night out. So whatever, we leave a little early. We didn't stay all the way till 4 because we knew I had to be back at work. And I get to work, and you have to check in with the owner of the restaurant, and he used to tell us which room we were working in. It's a big banquet restaurant. And I came in, all of us came in, he could tell we were fucked up. He goes, And it's a day in January. So, all right, you know what? You're all fucked up. Go home. Get out of here. I can tell you're all messed up. We'll work without you tonight. Didn't fire us. God bless his soul. But sent us home. So what do you think we did? I mean, we got the rest of the day off. We bought tickets for the night session. But not only did we buy tickets for the night session, but we had 3 hours to spare. So instead of working in the dining room of that restaurant, we sat down at a table and proceeded to order Manhattans. And I got the linguine special, which we'll talk about later. And
I feel like it's going to come up again.
Oh my god! I should have used that. So we go back to the night session, 7 o'clock, and 3 of the same 5 people of the original group are there, and we all go. And I can tell you, I remember maybe the first 20 minutes of being there.
We getting your ticket checks.
I do remember the owner of the restaurant that I worked at. His daughter was there, so that worked out pretty well. We kind of hung out with her. And the last thing I remember, and it was a really cold day in January, was leaving there and running back to the car, which was parked about a half mile away, I believe. And I was running with my hands in my jacket pockets, and the sidewalk was just getting and closer and closer to my face. And the next thing you know, I am face first into the sidewalk, but still running somehow. And I pop back up because, you know, my whole thing when I get drunk is to pretend I'm not. So I didn't want anyone to see it, nor did I want anyone to realize how fucked up I was. So I immediately just popped back up and kept running. But people walking opposite me saw the whole thing go down, like, oh my God, are you okay? I'm like, I'm good, I'm just trying to get to my car. So my brother drove up, he had a minivan at the time. I get into the minivan, all my friends are gonna be like, dude, your face is fucked up. That's not a nice thing to say, guys. Let's get out. So my brother had this fucking minivan with a back seat, didn't have windows. And here we go, the roller coaster starts going. And the windows were like those, like, old school minivan.
Oh, they
windows.
popped out to the
they
side?
They popped out about 2 inches.
Yeah.
So here comes that linguine making its triumphant return. So I'm trying to throw up out the linguine window, and I'm squeezing my face between, and the window pops open and flies off in the middle of the highway. On my brother's minivan. And I'm puking out the window, and that is the last thing I vaguely remember that. I just know the story so vividly because I've heard it so many times. But that is the last thing I remember. I just know I slept. We got back to my brother's apartment. I slept on the floor there. I woke up. I had fucking scabs and scars all over the left side of my face. I lost my wallet. I had no idea where my wallet was, which I do when I'm sober anyway. But I don't think I've ever been more drunk than that. I didn't get shut off at any point of that day, though, which kind of doesn't really fit the theme. But you asked me how fucked up I am. How about you, Andy?
Well, there's been a myriad of nights that have, disappeared to my memory. But probably the worst and, most embarrassing. Everyone knows I'm divorced, and I was getting engaged. And we used to have this annual Halloween party. We'd rent a hall. We had a life-size guillotine, a life-size coffin, smoke machines. It was crazy.
Badass.
Yeah, it was awesome. We ran it for 5 years. The first year you get kind of like a mix, half and half. Half people show up in costume, half don't.
Right.
By that 5th year, everyone's in costume except for one guy who's like, oh, I'm kind of embarrassed.
So he's the embarrassed guy for Halloween.
So it's my great idea to propose to my then girlfriend, now ex-wife, at that party. So I'm nervous. So I have 4 or 6 beers before I leave the house.
Jesus.
Go to the party, have a couple more.
You had a ring already, so you were thinking about doing this, or?
Oh yeah, I had the ring already.
Yeah, right.
We were already. This was more of a formality.
Yeah.
We were already getting the plan was in place. We were already getting married.
Right,
This was
but the action is still nerve-wracking.
Right, yeah. She wasn't going to say no.
Right.
We had deposits down.
But you don't want to fuck it up.
You don't want to fuck it up. You're doing it in front of everybody.
Right.
So I have a couple more beers there. I'm already drunk, proposing to her. It goes off. She says yes. In that point, people are like, let me buy you a drink.
Right.
And that's that point where I'm already beyond good decisions. So I'm like, sure. And from what people tell me later on is her cousin was taking shots off the bar that she hadn't even ordered and be like, Andy, drink this.
Oh my
Andy,
God.
drink this. I don't remember anything past proposing to her.
Oh my God.
At
Apparently,
least you remember that, I guess.
yeah.
I use divorce now. He probably wishes he forgot it.
I mean, this should have been like an omen. Apparently I was smoking a joint in front of her mother. Don't remember that.
Fish laughing in the back.
So I come to the next morning, and I'm laying there on the bed, and I'm like, where are all the fucking sheets? What smells like vomit?
Oh,
And then I'm like, oh, I know. And, like, I just start throwing up all over the place. I was stone cold passed out vomiting, like Jimi Hendrix vomiting.
holy shit.
She was pissed. Which, reasonable.
Yep.
So, you kind of suffer through that first day, and you're kind of starting to piece together little bits and pieces of the night that you're like, this seems vaguely familiar. And we're sitting there. She's still, obviously pissed at me, rightfully so. And I'm like, hey. And she's like, what? I'm like, I think I grabbed your cousin's ass last night. And so she calls her cousin, and she's like, yep.
No way.
Because I was Two-Face, she was Catwoman, and someone's like, oh, let's get a picture of you two together. And she, like, lifted her leg in front of me, and like, like you'd put it on, like, on someone's back. Nope. Lower. Not the ass. Like, I was in there.
Oh, my God. You're a puppeteer.
Yeah, and of course, there's a fucking photo of it, so I'm like, oh, you gotta be kidding
So
me.
you came clean before the photo came out.
I came clean. I'm like, I think I grabbed your cousin's ass.
Yeah.
She knew ahead of time. By the time the photo showed up, she thought it was funny. She didn't think it was funny
Get
that
some
day.
good damage control like that.
Yeah. Well, that's the kind of memory. If you remember, you fucking throw that shit out there. Be like, I was drunk. You were there.
I proposed to my wife and sexually harassed her cousin on the same day. Were you guys in Alabama?
No, he
Get
didn't.
right to it, huh?
Sure, and he didn't harass his own cousin.
That was her
Cousin
cousin.
through
Yeah, cousin-in-law.
Yeah, that was.
It's like they're not quite related yet.
A little closer than Mason Dixon.
So. Yeah, that was a mess. I knocked over a friend of mine, like completely just knocked her down. Yeah, that was.
Now, this was a Halloween party. Were there any, was there like a play-by-play photo book? Like, I would have loved to seen the photo album from this.
Yeah, there's a photo album kicking around somewhere.
Yeah?
Yeah,
It might
we
be,
used
that
to-
might
it
go
was
for
like
the
a flip
Instagram.
book.
Yeah,
Driscoll flip book.
Yeah, because the photo of me and her
stuff.
the photo of me and her cousin still exists.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's fantastic. Can that be like the cover photo of this episode? Can we take that?
I'll make some
I
calls.
can
Yeah,
see
yeah,
what I can
yeah.
do, but I can't make any
Oh,
guarantees.
that'd be fantastic.
I mean, our Instagram is lacking some pictures.
I love how this is supposed to be the getting shutting off episode. Well, at least
Me and
according
Dan
to
have
me.
never been shut off.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
So we had
we
to do an audible there.
I can't believe you guys have never been shut off.
There's been multiple times I
not
should
been
have
let
been.
into bars.
I've
I've
never been not let
shut
in.
off.
Right. I guess that kind of counts.
Yeah, I mean kicked out.
I
make
have,
me feel
yeah,
bad?
I have never been shut off after more than one drink. I've been shut off on my first drink twice.
Because you were drinking somewhere else and went in there?
No,
No, because he's happy and friendly, and then
no.
you're
Once I was just in a good mood,
yeah, it's like you clearly something's up with you.
and the other
You
time,
can talk to us, buddy.
no, I can't. I talked to you. We got cut off. That's not healthy.
Why aren't you standing in the corner, fish?
It's like, is he smiling? Is he? The fuck, he's smiling. What the hell? Something's gone horribly wrong.
Is he armed?
Oh, it's good stuff. Dan, tell the story about when you weren't let into a bar then. Make me feel a
Oh,
little
well,
better.
I'll tell you the story of how there's a bar that no longer exists in Boston, and
What did
every
you do?
time, no, I mean somehow I didn't do anything, but every time I went there, I got kicked out. So the last time I was there, I didn't get kicked out yet. So it was like the lights were coming on his last call. And the bouncer's like, "Hey, you're just gonna move here?" I am like, "Fuck you." he's like, "You gotta go." I'm like, "Awesome, see you later, man." my streak is alive. Like, that's it.
money's worth.
But like I have like an epic drunk Long Island trip story. Where
I've never been to Long Island.
Long Island is awesome. I've only been once, and I had fun that one time. So it could be terrible all the other days of the year.
Yeah.
But we went for a cast festival at Blue Point, and we went for work. And my boss at the time was a lot older than everyone else we went to, so we told everyone he was our dad. So everywhere we went, and like we were out to this nice restaurant, and like we were watching the Celtics game. And I was like, look at this table. I'm like, it's my dad's birthday. He's being really grumpy today. And they're like, oh, happy birthday. Like, got a whole restaurant. It's something I've done to you as well.
Oh, yeah.
And it's my go-to move. But then, like, we kept going. We went out for the rest of the night, and so we were at a beer festival all day, so we didn't need to be out anymore. And I like to tell stories when I'm drunk, and so I like to make things up. So we convinced a whole group of Long Island girls that we worked for NASA, and my job specifically was the countdown person. They were like,
to go to school for 7 years to get second for it.
And I remember the person's like, that's not a real job. I'm like, you count down from 10 to 1 right now. I'm going to yell in your face the whole time. You tell me that's not a job. It's the most stressful job you can have. It's like, oh my, I got a phone number out of that. So.
Yeah, but how do you call it? Being like, I don't really work for NASA.
I did. I was in Long Island. I was never going to see the person again.
1098-765-51. No one answered.
I had to give out the Jenny phone number.
She makes up stories too.
Yeah. So, yeah, it was a
That's fucking hilarious.
whole weekend though. That guy was my dad, and he did not like it at all because he really wasn't. He just bald.
Well, this past week I was out in Vegas, and Wednesday night the vice president got us a limo to kind of take us on a tour of Vegas. Nice bottle of whiskey, and we're sitting at dinner. He goes, "All right, here's our cover. It's Andy's bachelor party," and Todd's his dad. So then we're like, "All right, what's my wife's name?" They decided on Heidi because it was unusual but believable.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not the first time we've done that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I mean, I wish there was a better, like, that's pretty, it was just kind of funny. There wasn't, like, a real great punchline.
Everyone just walked behind a dead man walking.
As I'm telling this story, I'm like, there was really no great punchline. We were pretty responsible that night, actually.
Yeah.
But, Jordan, you brought up one earlier. Does anyone have any Mari stories, mysterious alcohol-related injuries?
Oh, I had a good streak where I woke up with tons of bruises for a while. I had, when I was in college, we had like this, it was a flight of stairs. It wasn't steep, but it was tall enough where we found out to this day that someone was jokingly pushed me down the stairs. And I got rolled down, and then I refused to get up off the ground until I got a round of applause. And I just yelled that everyone had to believe in me. And so, I think if I wasn't drunk, I probably would have broke my neck, but it was one of those like drunk superpowers where your body wasn't tight, and I don't know. I came out a couple scrapes and bruises, but that was it. And I got a great round of applause. So.
I've never heard that Mari, but one fucking popped right in my mind as soon as you said that.
Because I got a good one, too.
It's pretty embarrassing.
All right. Mine's not great.
That's a lie. Yours is, if it's the one I'm thinking of, it's amazing.
It's my only Mari.
All right.
And actually, the injury's not the worst part of the story.
Oh, no.
This is the first year Speedwell was open. I worked every day, but sometimes I didn't necessarily always have a station, so it wasn't like a shift. Like, I just come in, oversee, where now, like, I'm either in the kitchen or dicking around with you guys. But, so this was a Sunday. I was supposed to be in the kitchen, but I didn't realize that I had actually scheduled enough people, so I didn't have to be. So I kind of just hung out during the day, had a beer or two, and then decided, my wife was at work, so I decided, screw it, I'll drive back into, Fairhaven, have a couple drinks at my favorite bar, which is the Bitter End in Fairhaven, and my friend Kelly was bartending, and this place there's no food, it's fucking a trap. You go there, it's not just 1 or 2 beers, everyone's buying you beers, especially on a Sunday, football's on, people are fucking raging. So you don't go there and get 1 beer. You go there and you get 7, and you do bombs, and it's just a mess. So I knew what I was getting into. But so I drive. It's like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I get to the Bitter End. I get fucked up. Kelly's on the bar. She gets me fucked up. We're playing pool. I drank for like 4 hours. Hard alcohol, beer, you name it. 5 o'clock in the afternoon, I'm completely shit-faced. And anyone listening, don't do this. But I drove home. I lived in New Bedford at the time. And I was like, I had the idea. First, I went to Stop and Shop. I was going to cook dinner for my wife, then she was my fiance, and surprise her with dinner because she thought I was at work because I was supposed to be at work. I didn't realize I was overscheduled. I didn't call her and tell her I was going to drink at this
You don't
bar.
have to defend yourself. You already said she doesn't listen.
Oh yeah, that's true. So I got fucked up instead of going to work. Decided, I don't know if it was out of subconscious guilt that I was going to cook her this amazing dinner. I go to Stop and Shop. I can't even remember what I was planning on cooking. Picked up a bunch of food, got home, popped on the TV, jumped into the kitchen, started sharpening my knife. Seinfeld is on TV, and I'm a huge Seinfeld fan, and I was waiting for the punchline. It was the episode where Kramer is a pimp and doesn't realize he's a pimp, so the hat's rolling down the street, and I'm waiting for the punchline of him, getting the hat, and I look over while I'm shopping the knife at the TV, and I completely miss the knife sharpener and put a knife through, and you can see the scar, sorry listeners if you can't, through the side of my palm on my left hand.
That's a good one.
Yeah, that's a pretty nice scar.
So, right through. And I look down, and here I am trying to... Now, I know I'm fucked up and I'm not supposed to be because I was supposed to be at work all day. I know my wife's coming home in about 20 minutes. I'm trying to cook dinner and do the right thing, but I'm staring down at a giant gash in my hand, blood all over the apartment floor. So I immediately just go, I gotta go to the hospital. Luckily, there's a hospital 10 minutes away. So I leave the hospital, I leave the apartment, I go to the hospital, blackout drunk, get stitched up, didn't call my wife, didn't tell her what happened. So instead of her coming home...
See where this is going?
Instead of her coming home to A, either me being at work, or B, my plan, a beautiful cooked dinner surprise, she comes home to a trail of blood, the TV blasting loud, the oven's on, and a knife just sitting on the counter full of blood. All over. No answer of what's going on.
She legit came home to a crime scene.
Yeah, pretty much.
I saw this
There's been
episode
a
on
struggle.
TV last night.
Long story short, 13 external, 2 internal stitches.
Jesus.
And a very, very long conversation with my then fiance, now wife, when I got home. And, dude, she's fucking chill. She laughed at the whole thing and basically, laughed at my pain. Much deserved. But
You
that's
can't
my
complain about
Mari.
those injuries.
Dude, that's a good Mari. I didn't realize I even had that story, but
That's a good one.
I guess you have too many. They all kind of blend together.
So, before Inebri-Art, there was... Actually, that was right around the same time as Inebri-Art got started. I used to do the Comic-Con convention circuit, selling prints of shit and whatever. And the best cons were the 3-day cons. So you'd travel down early Friday, set up, you'd work the show, crash that night because you got an early start. But Saturday, everyone was there. Everyone got to sleep in a little bit.
Yep.
So Saturday night was party night. Multiple drunken stories from cons, but this was kind of like the king.
Yes.
So Inebri-Art started as part of a drink and draw movement that came out of California. And 2 of the guests at this particular convention started the movement. And they were hosting a drink and draw at a local bar. So me and a couple buddies that were at the convention were like, well, we're definitely going.
Right.
And we're like, of course. So we go back to the hotel room, and we pregame. And we're drinking rum and cokes, and my buddy Sherpa's pouring way too heavy. We're reasonably tipsy. He's shit-faced before we leave the room.
Yeah.
We're walking down the hall, and so I'm walking like side by side with my other buddy, Calm Monster, and he looks over his shoulder. He's like, "What the fuck are you doing?" And I hear Sherpa go, "Andy collects these," and I'm like, "What?" And I turn around. He's trying to pull the room number off the wall. He's like, "Andy collects these." I'm like, "The fuck I do? What are you doing?" So Maz looks at me and goes, "Run!" So we just run to the elevator and like. Hitting the button like, come on, faster, faster, faster. We jump inside. We're hitting close. We're like, fuck that
I
guy.
don't know why the elevator goes faster
Yeah.
when you do that. It's crazy.
And then we hear this ripping sound, and he comes running into the elevator with a room number with this giant piece of wallpaper hanging off of it. And we're like, what the fuck did you do? So he's like, Andy collects these. I'm like, no, I don't, dude. We'd stolen one before. But I didn't collect them.
So you did steal one, though. All right.
Before, in a
There's
different
a reason
hotel.
why. I don't care how drunk he was.
Yeah.
There's a reason why he
Yeah.
thinks you collect these.
Yeah,
So you stole one before.
yeah, so did he. But we didn't collect
You
them.
left that out of the
Yeah,
story.
I'm adding it now.
Okay.
All right. So we go to this drink and draw. There are no tables. There's nowhere to draw.
Yeah.
It is a big empty space with a bar in it. So everyone is just pounding.
So why did they call it a drink and draw?
Because these are the drink and draw guys, and apparently no one like went by the bar to see
Right.
if it made sense. And so everyone's fucking hammered, and I hear this clink, and I turn around, and the guy ripped the number off the wall. I'm like, did you just fucking do a car bomb? And he's like, yep. I'm like, oh, tonight's gonna be interesting. So we're all drinking, and then we go to the after party. he's so drunk. There's this weird section of the room that has like a red couch in it and like a velvet rope and a dude standing there.
Uh-oh.
And I'm like, what the fuck is that about? So like I kind of like drag him over there and I'm like, can he go in there? And the guy's like, yeah. So like I dump him on the couch. He's like, where are we? I'm like, you're in the VIP section. He's like, awesome. I'm like, I'm gonna go back to the bar. Apparently at some night at somewhere around this time, I met Steve from Ghost Hunters, and I only know that because there's a picture of me and Steve from Ghost Hunters on my phone the next day.
Wait, is Steve like the
The tattooed,
guy?
yeah.
He's the t-shirt guy.
Yeah.
Wait, am I thinking? No, I'm thinking Ghost Adventurers.
Oh, no. This guy, dude's all like tats and stuff.
Okay, yeah.
So I don't remember that. And then at some point we lost our other buddy Monster. He just kind of vanished. He calls Sherpa, who's like borderline passed out on this red couch. He's like, where are you? And Sherpa's like, I'm in the VIP party. And he's like, motherfucker, I'm in the VIP party. I'm coming to get you guys. So he shows up. We go back to the VIP party where like all the celebrities are and shit. And it's this weird room with a giant staircase. It's almost kind of like San Diego's. It has a big staircase that in the bar kind of wraps around the top so you can look down at the staircase.
Yep.
And our drunkest buddy, because we're all fucking out at this point, starts hitting on this gorgeous blonde. Like, unbelievably hot. She's clearly a model or something. And we're sitting up at a table looking at him, kind of like look at this fucking
I
idiot.
picture Knocked Up, where, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Seth
We'll look-
Rogen.
yeah.
You're way prettier than me.
Yeah. Pretty much. That's the last thing I remember.
Get the fuck out of here.
I woke up in the hotel room.
On the side of the blonde?
No. My first thought was, where are my pants?
Wait, you were on the side of your buddy?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Who springs out of bed fully clothed, like
thank
shoes and
God.
all. And I'm like, oh, thank God. And then I'm like, why do my fucking ribs hurt? Like,
No.
bad. And I'm like, what the fuck happened? And like, you don't remember? I'm like, I don't remember a fucking thing. Like, you and Monster got in a fight in the elevator. I'm like, what? I'm like, were we mad? You two were laughing like idiots.
So you were just like sparring?
Yeah.
Matei?
No. He was a
it's
black
not
belt?
sparring. Yeah.
And he can pick up a stack of side plates in one hand. Like, the dude's a fucking
big-
orangutan.
Okay, like you know, like the tall Sam Adams glasses.
Yes.
He can
put
pick one up
between
the
his
long
pinky and
way.
his thumb.
Get the fuck out.
Yeah.
He's got like
Yeah.
giant orangutan hands, and it's kind of scary.
So,
Jesus Christ.
took me 2 weeks to heal.
So what was he just picking you up and shaking
he was
you
punching me in
around?
the ribs.
But that's not the worst part. The worst part is I'm so drunk. We get off the elevator. We're walking down the hotel hallway, and I look on the floor and I go, ooh, free pizza. And they're like, don't pick that up. So I grab the box. We go in the hotel room. They turn around. I have the box in my hand. They're like, what the fuck are you doing? That's someone's trash. I throw it on the bed. It flops open. And I'm like, oh, no, it's breadsticks. And they're like,
It was crust?
no, it was breadsticks. Like someone's
no.
discarded order of breadsticks that was in the hallway.
Gross.
And they're like, dude, get rid of that. So I pack it up. I go to the door. I open the door and just hurl it into the night. And then they're like, and then you turn around and you have a breadstick hanging on your mouth, and they're like, don't! And I'm like, "Gah, gah, 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 gah." The worst part is the next morning, I'm in the shower, and I get out of the shower, and they're like, hey, do you remember eating a breadstick last night? I'm like, oh yeah, we got pizza? That's the only fucking thing I remember is eating that goddamn breadstick. So I can't even deny it. You open the door, there's breadsticks all over the hallway. My ribs hurt for 2 weeks. It was a fucking mess.
That's fucked up. Any repercussions from the ripping of the letter off the door?
Not that I know of.
No.
I don't know. He booked the hotel room, so he got an extra charge.
Think about it. It's like definite fucking like damage. Like,
Yeah.
You could just tore it up.
Just tore a giant.
Comic Con got
Yeah.
so fucking
Oh,
shit.
Shit, right?
I know.
And you missed what happened with the number.
Oh, I just got in touch because they don't know who Jim
Yeah,
Mathis
that's
is.
fair.
I mean, you collect them. I mean, I would
yeah.
assume you have it in.
No, it's on the wall at the
it
bar.
was installed. Yeah.
And so then, like, we're sitting at our tables the next day, hungover as fuck. And my buddy's like, "Do you remember drawing skulls on coasters at the bar?" And I'm like, "Dude, I don't remember anything about last
I
night."
didn't even know you went to a bar.
Like 5 minutes later, this girl walks by. She's like, "Didn't I see you guys at a bar drawing skulls?" And I'm like, "Fuck if I know. Sounds right."
If more than one person said it, then you drew skulls.
Yeah, we didn't even
Skull
know
guys.
her.
Oh, damn it! He's doing the skull thing.
Fucking Scully over here.
But surprisingly, not that hungover. Like, I was hurting a little bit, but For as blacked out as I was.
It was that breadstick.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
the
that
trick.
one breadstick.
You gotta eat food,
And
man.
it can't be your
Soak it up.
breadstick. Don't just order breadsticks when you drink a lot, because that's not going to help. You got to find someone else's
Yeah,
breadstick.
like a random
Who
one.
knew in a hotel you can just find snacks?
I know. There
Just
is usually-
laying out in the hall.
I usually go for the cart. Like room service, like the leftover room service.
It wasn't that kind of hotel.
Just eating little shampoos. Gonna do a cleanse.
I've been shut off a lot. The highest profile place I've ever been shut off at is Fenway Park. And it wasn't just for being fucked up. I smuggled in, somehow, not on purpose. Fuck, I should just tell the story from the beginning. Yeah, I'm going to leave you hanging there. So, I used to work at a liquor store in Fall River, and some of the people that were with me on my trip to that, it was the same point in my life with that Beer Fest doubleheader. So we all went up to Fenway together, and we took the tea in and shit. So we knew we were gonna get fucked up. We were drinking on the tea. So we started at the liquor store. We loaded up our backpacks, and girls loaded up their purses with nips and beers and whatever. And we're like, oh, we'll drink on the tea, and we'll do this and we'll do that. We'll pregame. We'll go to a day game. And I fucking forgot I had all this booze in my backpack. So you go into Fenway and they check your bag. So I'm already way past drunk. We had hit a couple bars before the game as well. And this is a day game, like I said, so it's only 1 PM and we're already blacked out, fucking drunk. And I get to where you turn your ticket and your turnstile and they check your bag. And they open up the front pouch of my backpack and there's a pint of one of the girls I was with vodka. So he's like, you can't bring this in here. I'm like, oh my God, and I legit just forgot it was in there.
It's not mine, officer.
I'm so sorry. So you don't get in trouble. They just throw it away. So he threw it away, but it was like a decoy. He didn't check the rest of the fucking backpack because he saw that. So I just
So it's
put
like
it back
it's the
on.
one you leave, so they find it.
Yeah.
yeah.
I didn't do it intentionally. Once again, it was not intentional. It was like a pint of Smirnoff fucking blueberry or something. Back to your blueberry vodka.
Fish,
baby.
Nothing wrong with that.
But they throw it away, and I get back in the park, and I, at this point, had no idea there was anything in my backpack. I was so just focused on getting to the seats. Let's grab a beer in the park. Let's go pay $8 for a beer and get to our seats.
100
And
years
I'm a
ago.
big Red Sox fan, so I just genuinely wanted to enjoy my time there. But we get to the 7th inning, and for those of you that don't know, 7th inning stretch, they stop serving. Right after, it's the bottom of the 7th, all the concession stands that serve beer stop serving. So my buddy Joel and I are sitting there, and we've been double fisting the whole day, and we're done, and we can't get any more beers, and we're pissed. So I go into my backpack for something, and I'm like, oh shit, there's a 6-pack of Paulaner Salvator Doppelbock beer, which is this German super malty Doppelbock, 9% alcohol by volume, bottled beer. And something, put it this way, I'm being this descriptive because you would never find this beer in a ballpark. Everything's in cans or in plastic cups. They don't want glass. And they don't want to serve you a 9% alcohol Doppelbock on a hot summer day, whatever. So him and I, we got our empty plastic cups and we're sitting there. Actually, we're sitting there, we're just drinking beer out of these bottles. Crack them open, we're in standing room. And an usher walks by and he goes, excuse me, where'd you get those beers? And in a fit of just drunk, immediate, being quick on my feet, sort of something I can never do when I'm sober, I immediately go, oh, we bought them from the guy down there, the guy that's selling them. And he's like, excuse me, sir, we don't sell any glass in the park. I go, well, that guy sold it to me. They were $5 a piece, much cheaper than the shit you got at the stands. So I jumped all over it. He goes, do you have any more of those? I go, no, you can't buy more than 2 at a time. I just bought these 2. So I actually came across as legit. And so he's like, where was the gentleman selling them? I go, it was at a little cart over there. He had a backpack and stuff over there. And he goes, I'll have to confiscate those from you guys. And me and Joel are sitting there, and I don't know what it was. I was feeling cheeky. But when I say Joel, not my son, my friend Joel. Joel was 10 years. He was not even floating in my nads yet. But I had my plastic cup from a previous beer, and I go, well, can I at least pour it out in here? And the fucking usher goes, oh, yeah, absolutely. I'm like, I paid for these. Can I at least pour it out in a plastic cup? He goes, yeah, totally. Let us pour it into a plastic cup and drink the beer. So we're sitting there drinking these beers that I snuck in by accident. The dude's going to chase somebody that doesn't fucking exist. And here my buddy Joel and I sitting on the bottom of the 7th drinking these beers. And I got 4 more sitting in my backpack. So we're sitting there drinking the beers, and we decide this isn't enough. So crack out a couple more bottles of the stuff, plain sight. Once again, not smart enough just to pour it in the fucking cup and continue on our way. But no, instead we take the bottles, I put my backpack on, we each got a bottle in hand, we start hopping over stands because it's a blowout game. I think Daisuke pitched, and he gave up like 10 runs by the 4th inning. So the Sox are losing, no one's in the park anymore. And we're hopping over behind home plate to get as close to the catcher as possible because no one's sitting there anymore. You can't fucking do that, let alone with 2 glass bottles in your hand. So we get to about maybe 13 rows up behind home plate, and we look to our right, and there's a security guard. And we look to our left, and there's a security guard. And we're in the middle of this aisle, each with a glass bottle on hand. And there's the usher with the fucking guy I lied to originally. And he's like, you know, you could have got away with this. You do understand that, right? And both guys rush us from both sides, grab us, horse collar us, grab us by the back of our sweatshirts, and literally the only time I've been dragged out with my feet, the heels of my feet were dragging across the floor of Fenway Park, being dragged out, while me and Joel are still swearing by our story that we bought these beers from a guy. But yeah, that was not only being shut off, but fucking literally dragged and thrown out. Lucky I wasn't arrested at America's favorite ballpark, Fenway Park. That's one of mine.
I like it.
That's pretty
Not
outstanding.
bad, right?
Yeah.
That's pretty outstanding.
Every time I have a Solito Doppelbock, it takes me right back.
Your neck starts to hurt a little bit.
Yeah, that was good. Yeah, I mean, Joel, my friend Joel, is actually who we pretty much named my son after. He's a really good friend of mine, but real tall dude, but he just like, his mouth gets in his way. He's a real fucking abrasive prick. So me, I'm trying to reason with the guys when I'm getting kicked out and I realize we've been defeated. But Joel is like mouthing off to these security guards. So every time Joel drops an F-bomb or a shit or a fuck you, my neck gets pulled a little tighter. So I'm looking over at him like, shut the fuck up. Like, we're already getting kicked out. Like, you mouthing off to these guys, but we're both drunk. But yeah, that's one of mine. Yeah, that's the most vivid one I can remember getting kicked out of a place. Definitely the highest profile.
I mean, you made it count. We can't. You tried.
It's worth the story.
It's one for your.
But that's the thing. I'm like, I feel like I'm pissing in the wind here because neither of you guys have actually been like kicked out of a place.
No, I've been kicked out. I've just never been told I can't have any more booze.
I've never been kicked out of.
Out?
I've been. Well, no, I got kicked out of a Celtics game.
Yes.
On a college trip. In my college, it was Framingham State, it's a dry campus. So they do not approve of drinking. We took like a bus in there. Me and my buddy decided we're going to drink a whole bottle of Southern Comfort. So we are fucking like wasted walking into this game. And so we're sitting next to him. We're like, oh, let's get those stupid big green foam fingers that they sell at games. So we're like, yeah, we're drunk, obnoxious, like waving around. And there's this like tough guy kid that was like must have been like taking this girl on a date, or like he was trying to impress this girl. I was like, you guys sit down, like reasonably, like yeah, whatever. And then we're like waving around. I was like, you guys and your fucking green foam fingers. So like we turn around and just like start poking him in the eye with him. So first, the person running the trip, the chaperone's like, you guys need to go over here. So they put me on one side of the row and my buddy on the other, thinking that'd stop it. Like,
you're in college and got separated.
Yeah, so we legit got like. Framingham State has a lot of education majors there, so we were preparing them for their kindergarten class. So they thought that would solve everything. But no fucking way. Now I'm just yelling across the aisle to my buddy, fuck that guy and his green foam finger. So to the point where we got the whole row kicked out of the game. So then like we're too drunk, we can't even put our jackets on. So the kids go to back, put in the bus, and somehow I didn't get in trouble for that, besides getting 20 people kicked out of the game. The Celtics were very bad at the time, so no one really cared. But yeah, so
that's pretty bad.
Yeah. All right. Thank you. I don't feel so alone from getting kicked out of a Boston sports venue. Yeah, that's fantastic.
See, I've never gotten that ripped off at like a sports thing.
Oh, I mean,
that's not true.
I've gone to games and I remember being there.
But
really now?
I didn't get kicked out. I got that ripped up.
You left and got lost.
I left. We were talking about it earlier. So we were out pre-gaming, and we decided that if your beer is never empty, it only counts as one. So there's two of us. We went through like 3 pitchers and a couple shots.
Now, mind you,
And we're
one
texting
thing.
Fish, being like, "Where are you? Where are you? We're already here." So he shows up. We're supposed to meet like 12 people in there. He shows up. There's 2 of us.
So now, mind you, I'm getting texts. I'm getting out of work at like 4 or 5 or something, and I'm shooting up to Boston for the game. So I'm just like, "Hey, I'm on my way. How's it going?" It's like, "Oh yeah, we've had 4 pitchers." So when I hear that, it's like, "Oh, there are like 7 or 8 people there. Cool." I get there, it's the 2 of them,
Fucking hammered.
both completely shit faced. I've accepted I'm not playing catch up, and it's me at baseball, and
I don't remember who was playing other than the Red Sox. I don't remember what score was, who won.
Clay Buchholz started.
So the Red Sox lost.
Nope,
It
complete
was
game
also
shutout.
Oh, is
He-
it one of the good games?
It was like it
All right,
was.
This is
the-
a drinking story, not a baseball story.
No, screw you. This is a baseball. Yeah, but I'm giving
I
context.
always forget how big of a fan Fish is.
Yeah.
I mean, I can do this.
It
all
was like 2011 or something. And it was the year where Buchholz was shit, and then he just completely turned it off the second
day.
half.
They went 12-3 in the second.
Yeah, that was the first game of that.
So-
like that game where he just turned on. I'm like, well,
Sure.
yeah.
Nasty two-seam.
Someone was out
Oh,
on the
God.
field. So there was like 12 of us lined up, and the one buddy that I started drinking with, for some reason, got stuck on the very end. Like someone made like a poor joke at his expense. It was like, "Fuck, you sit on the end," and he was sitting next to someone like the one person in the entire group that no one else knew. And so like I looked down at my phone at one point, and my phone says like, "I hope Ortiz hits a home run right in all your faces." And I'm like, "What the fuck is that about?" So I check him like, "What's that?" Like, and you look and he's gone. And you're like, "What the fuck?" He's like, "Okay, blah blah." He's drunk and mad, And so I'm like, "Oh my god, my friend is drunk and lost in Boston. I have to go find him." I don't know where the fuck I am. It's my first time ever to Fenway. My only time ever to Fenway.
Okay.
I'm literally wandering around the streets of Boston, like, hammered. And text him, like, "Where are you?" He's like, "I'm on the T on the way home."
No,
I left hours ago.
no. He never left. He went and got peanuts.
Yeah, like, he just got a snack. I'm wandering around fucking Boston,
Like he never left the park.
trying to ask people like a fucking tourist, me like, "Where's the nearest T station?"
Oh my
Like,
god.
you're on the train, buddy.
Yeah, because I had no idea where I was.
Yeah, out of what was it, like 12, 15 people at the game, 5 of us finished.
Wow. Holy
So it was
shit.
like me.
Because, generally speaking,
Oh,
the
God,
blood
like-
alcohol level of that entire
Oh no,
group
I was
not
the
good.
least drunk person there, but we all went
Yeah.
after. So I felt
That's fucking
We
awesome.
had the whole
It was
T
like-
ride home to sober up. So that's,
it was like
Yeah.
me. Oh god, it was a good time.
yeah. It's a good story.
That was a great
Had
story.
Good time. The game was boring as shit. I don't give a shit about baseball.
The game was awesome.
I would have just walked around and got beers the whole time. So
I
feel
swear
you.
to God, I could have been there 5 minutes or an hour and a half. I have absolutely no idea. It like all concept of time was gone. Like it was the weirdest thing.
It's fucking amazing, man. The black hole, the nebula. It just fucking. I don't-
What's it like? No, like I've never blacked out.
Have you ever like had a very, very bad head injury or anything? Or like I don't know. I
Not
really
that I-
don't know what to relate it to.
Like,
I was
I've-
going to say, why are you asking if that would explain
Have you
things?
ever seen those
No.
TV shows that are just like a mystery show and it takes like
Yeah.
12 weeks to figure out what's going on? It's pretty much what blacking out
That's
is
right.
like.
yeah, that's a good way to put it.
But yeah, it's just
You
I've
piece it together.
never
Oh, that's- and then,
not
it's
been
not a
there,
good time.
and it's a little concerning for all the shit that unfortunately I don't not remember. Like there's a lot of shit that I would love to have not been there for.
Right.
Nope.
You're not drinking enough.
Yeah.
No, I am. No, believe me, I'm drinking enough. I'm
just don't
drinking.
black out?
Nope. It's all.
It's like a blessing and a curse right there.
Fucking superhero.
Super remember it all guy.
This is the worst goddamn superpower.
When was
don't know, man.
when was the last time you blacked out?
The last time I blacked out. It's been a while. I'm happy to say it's been a while. You know
It's
what?
been far less time for me.
You know what, Dan? It might have been the time I puked in my own mouth while staring at you while I was at Driftwood. Oh no, it was at Matt. You were there. I think I looked at Matt Audette while I did it.
When you used to do
Sweaty
the
Islands?
Driftwood Shuffle.
The Driftwood Shuffle. Every late night, especially when I lived in town, where I actually stayed out and partied, always the last stop on the crawl. If it wasn't British Beer Company, it was the Driftwood. And for those of you listening, listen to the first ever episode of Bar Talk. You will hear Matt Hennessy, the owner of the Driftwood, which is no longer with us. It is now
39 Court.
39 Court, right. But that was the end for all the fucking...
Well, we did that on purpose because we knew you had to go home and you lived above the bar pretty much.
I did. I was like,
we were thoughtful friends and we're like, we'll go to Driftwood for one more.
It didn't make the 43 stairs to get up to
I don't
think
you never finished a beer there. You had half of one and then someone would always buy us a shot.
That was the issue, was the tequila or whiskey shot as soon as you step foot in that place.
Yep.
But there were a lot of like throwing up and not letting it leave the mouth situations, and it always seemed to happen at Driftwood. And it was not because of the product; it was just because it was always the
last stop.
Pub crawl. But the last time I blacked out, I mean, I had to be there. It had to be there, or I had to be a British Beer Company. Like it was always, I always end with whiskey.
Yep.
Yeah, I really can't honestly think of the last time I blacked out. Yeah, I can. I got it. It was a Coheed and Cambria concert.
You could have said a million things, and that would have been like the last thing I picked.
I am like, I'm not like a diehard Coheed and Cambria fan. For those of you who actually know that band, they're a decent band. During the emo days, I wasn't a big emo guy, but for some reason, like I could tolerate them. I don't really consider them emo. They're sort of like, I don't know, like emo metal, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, they're emo. Yeah. But they write about anime and stuff. But whatever. But I went to play a show. I want to say it was 3 years ago. And I, being an old man, was starting to fall asleep at like 8 o'clock. So I started doing the vodka Red Bull dance. And, that was tough. Yeah, I would think it was halfway through the show. There were, instead of 5 band members, 15. And, I'm 90% sure there's like a little lounge area in the back. I think it was a Worcester Palladium. And no, it was Lupo's. No, it wasn't Lupo's. I can't remember. But I threw up on a couch that was in the back. But it wasn't like real throw up. It was like straight up just the Red Bull and vodka I just drank. I took like another
that still
sip.
counts.
Whatever.
If it came from if it came from inside of you.
All I know is I woke up in my own bed the next day and had no idea how I got home. And luckily I did not drive.
That's always a good time.
Yeah, I had no idea. That was the last time I blacked out.
I've woken up in a different state that I started my night off in before.
Oh, yeah.
I was out in Providence with the intention of being in Providence for the weekends. And then...
Woke up in Nebraska?
No, I woke up at home. Yeah. And I was like, why the fuck am I home? I was supposed to be in Providence right now.
It's amazing.
But Providence, they'll do that to you. So.
I think for now, like when I was young, when I was like 21, 22, it didn't take much to black out. And like becoming more of a social sort of, quote unquote, social drinker as I got older, or day drinker, you have to really like drink all day to black out. Like if you're a regular, someone that drinks on the regular, like you don't just like go out at night and black out. It's something that started early. You went in with a plan.
I don't think I've ever blacked out on drinking just beer alone.
No, right.
Yeah. So if you're just crushing beers,
it's the shots that get you. Yeah. Each one just erases an hour from your day.
You knew you had the day off.
Yep.
You went out to the first place to like grab brunch or breakfast or something and had a drink or a beer or something at 11 o'clock in the morning. And then you just drank for the day. And then you ended up somewhere at night, whether it be a baseball game, a club, a bar, whatever. But you ended up somewhere at 9 o'clock at night, still awake where you shouldn't have been because you started drinking at 11. And drinking hard stuff because you don't have room for beer anymore, or you're just making shitty decisions.
That's it.
That's when
there we go.
That's when the blackout happens.
So, what defines a blackout? How much time do you have to miss?
I think
because let me give you an example.
Okay.
Let me give you an example. We went to the Martha's Vineyard Craft Beer Festival where we recorded an episode.
It's a good place to black out.
It was fucking
it was amazing.
blast. It was so much fun.
Yeah.
We went to lunch at this place, and they had like this. It almost looked like a pink slush puppy machine behind the bar.
Holy shit!
So I'm like, "What is that?" And the girl's like, "Oh, it's some wine such and such."
They called it a frosé.
Yeah.
Because it was
nice.
Rosé all day.
And then and she's like, "Do you want to try some?" And I'm like, "Well, fuck yeah." So she pours a little taste, and I'm like, "Oh, that's fucking really good." If it wasn't such a pink sissy color, I'd order one.
What's wrong with pink, man?
Yeah. So
it's all my favorite drinks are pink.
So we had a couple beers there. Then we drank all day, Had a couple beers on the ferry back, and then a friend of mine that I work with texted me. She's like, "Oh, what was that pink, frosty drink that you texted me that you were drinking?" I'm like, "What?" And I look at my phone, and there's a picture. I was clearly sitting at the bar drinking a full glass of that. Don't remember that part at all. I remember everything else. I just don't remember sitting at the bar after the festival waiting for the ferry.
You remember
So
the
wait,
ice
you
cream
went
then,
back
right?
and got another
I remember
one?
what?
Or-
You do remember the ice cream?
I remember the ice cream. yeah.
Okay, so man, that's like half an hour.
We
Yeah.
call
Yeah.
that a brownout.
Yeah, brown.
Okay, all right.
Yes,
that's a
All
brown
so that's a
out.
brown
Lighter
out.
shade.
Yeah. So it was
Yeah.
like just that one drink. I remember drinking on the ferry on the way back.
Yeah.
It was just that one drink that was just like poof, gone. Like
Jesus Christ, we do a brownout episode. It's got to be a 4 hour.
well, recap anything you've ever forgotten. Yeah.
Oh my god.
So
yeah,
we're-
that's. I would say to constitute a black. All right, so let's say.
So does it have to like
I would say it'd have to be like the rest of the night.
The rest
before
of the
you
night's
went to bed.
gone.
Yeah, the rest of the night before you went to bed, and that rest of the night isn't like the half hour where you made yourself mac and cheese, destroyed the kitchen, and fell asleep on your recliner. It's got to be like you were still out.
out?
You were out and you got home somehow, or you fell asleep on someone like wherever.
I think
or
it's
you woke up
possible
in
to have
jail.
a midday blackout, and you just kind of miss a big chunk. Because I was in Canada for the first time ever when I was 18. Like we were out all day. I don't remember.
Did you like come to somewhere?
I woke up in my hotel room. Like, where the fuck am I? And I walk out
but-
of my room just trying to get my bearings. And it was my high school, and then Wayland High School went. And these girls we just met from that trip. They're like, where have you been for the last 2 hours? I'm like, who the fuck are you? like, what do you mean? You've been hanging out with us all day? Like,
Sure, I have.
That's always great when you meet chicks when you don't remember meeting chicks.
so. I mean, I don't think it has to be the end. I think it's just going to be
Yeah.
probably at least an hour, maybe.
Well, I
maybe
feel like
two.
that was kind of the end of that session because you ended up back. at
You
your
didn't
yeah.
wait- yeah.
I did it.
It's like
double that day.
it's one thing to wake up somewhere; it's another thing to like fade back. Like fade
I woke
back
up at
from
like 7
commercial.
o'clock at night, and then we
Yeah.
went back out drinking.
No, but
Yeah,
like
but you still woke
but
up.
you weren't still out. Like
Yeah,
if you
yeah.
came to and sitting in a bar with a beer in your hand and like,
Right.
yeah,
And I think that's a brownout because the day continued.
right.
Like you just fell out for
All
a
right.
second. You so if like the day continued, but if you like straight up woke up the next day or later on that day, let's say you got home at 4 in the morning. you woke up at
Basically, if
12.
you get to base camp,
correct, I guess if you got to any sort of not necessarily your base camp, but a base.
A base
If
camp.
you slept somewhere,
Yeah,
basically,
like,
That's
it's,
what I did. I took a 2-hour nap.
You took a 2-hour nap. That was the
I don't
cutoff.
think
Yeah.
intentional. I think I just fell down on my bed.
Yeah, but that's
that's,
I mean,
that's your
even though you
designated
Yeah.
sleeping spot. Yeah.
be right back.
I've woken up with a black eye in jail before.
Yes.
All right,
That's way better than the story I was just going to tell.
I just remembered it again. So this is about maybe 10 years ago, and I was in a band, and we were playing a lot in Providence and stuff. But we always
Always room for cowbell.
room for cowbell. So we were kind of piggybacking other bands that have been playing out a lot. So like it wasn't easy to get a gig at a bar or whatever. So we would always pair up and rent out a hall and sell tickets on our own, whatever. So we decided to throw a festival in the middle of this farm in the middle of Westport, which is this, like, I guess you would call the countryside of Massachusetts. It's a real sort of rural area, whatever, on the South Coast. So we throw this big rager, and it went from being maybe 50 people in the middle of the woods to hundreds of people because there were 5 bands that all brought people. We all played on the back of a 18-wheeler. We had like a trailer, flat. We had a bonfire that you could see miles away. We had a pig roast, whatever. But apparently my band played early because we were the younger band and the other bands were playing. We partied from 12 in the afternoon until the cops shut us down, and I'll get to that at around 1 in the morning. But our band played around 3. I was blackout drunk by the time I got on stage. I played in nothing but my underwear, thinking I'm Flea from fucking Red Hot Chili Peppers or something. I had my underwear and a scally cap on. Go figure. But we were just talking about that. But I ended up back down. I was cooking on a grill with a handle of SoCo because it was a cooler of meat that someone just left there near a grill, and someone just left the grill station. So me thinking, every time I get drunk, for some reason I want to cook, as you know, my 13-stitch story. So I'm cooking steak tips for a bunch of strangers and pouring SoCo on the steak tips on the grill and swigging from the bottle, and that's the last thing I remember. So I guess you can call this a brownout because the cops show up. I do remember that. because the bonfire got out of control and we were way too loud. Neighbors were complaining. All these people, we had all a tent set up in the middle of the woods, so we were going to sleep there. We got fucked up knowing we weren't going to drive. But the cop showed up, broke it up, said, everybody scattered, like roaches with the lights on. And I jump in my buddy Jared, who got fired that day because he decided to stay at the festival instead of going to work. We jump into his car, and he takes a wrong turn and goes to do a 3-point turn to turn the other way. And instead, the street had like 2 dips on the side of it, and gets his car stuck in the woods. So we get his car stuck in the woods, both blackout drunk, 2 o'clock in the morning, and sure enough, one of the cops that was just breaking up the festival drives by, call a tow company, arrest us both, throw us in jail. I don't really remember how that went down. And we got bailed out. I don't remember exactly. I think it was for $100 for like both of us. Something stupid. More so they wanted us to like sober up. But yeah, the next day the sun came up, and I was getting out of jail, and I had a black eye. And apparently what happened was I was playing catch with a baseball, and a baseball took a wicked hop, and it went right off my fucking face. And I don't remember it at all, but it landed right off my eyeball, and I had a wicked left shiner. So the stories that were coming out before I actually found out that's what it took 3 days for me to realize. I think it was the baseball that I had no idea. I had a black eye for 3 days, and I had no idea how I got it.
Yeah.
Until finally it came out that I got hit with a baseball. So I woke up in jail with a fucking black eye and no idea how.
That's pretty great.
Yeah, it's a pretty good one.
We went out one time. It was the day before my birthday. Started drinking super early. And got super drunk, blacked out. This was when I was living right up the street. So basically, I was walking home from downtown. Don't remember to walk home. So next night, it's my birthday. Going out again. Toning it down a little bit because I'm a little hungover. And my buddy's like, "Hey man, do you remember talking to those 3 girls last night?" And I'm like, "Vaguely." He's like, "Do you remember accusing one of them of spreading syphilis?" And I'm like, "No, I don't." He's like, "She's across the bar waving at you."
So you woke up with a black eye too, right?
No. Apparently her name was Jane, and I was trying to make some sort of Calamity Jane joke, but couldn't remember. I knew Calamity Jane was involved in sickness in some way, but in my drunken state, I couldn't remember. So I accused her of spreading syphilis all over Plymouth, and apparently in a very humorous way, because she bought me a beer, because she's like, "It's your birthday."
It's your birthday.
Yeah.
The syphilis guy.
And I'm like, who fucking does that? I'm like, oh, that would be me. That was,
It's always you.
yeah.
Have you ever heard a story where someone was like, I got blackout drunk and everyone said I was the coolest, most graceful, fucking smoothest guy at the fucking party? Like, that never happened.
I just usually say dumb things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's par for the course at this point.
Like, I think one of the most recent and one of probably Dan's favorites was we were at the BBC, and our good friend Jeff Rosen was playing with a lovely blonde woman who I've never met before, and they had taken a break, and at some point they had moseyed on over to say hello, and I don't remember what the fuck math we were doing, but we were doing some sort of math.
I think they were trying to close out their tab. And
maybe.
It was late.
And this lovely blonde woman did some math very quickly, and I was paying her a compliment. And I said, "What are you, autistic?" And
She was not thrilled.
she was not thrilled. Dan thought it was hysterical.
I did. Me and Jeff both walked away laughing. And,
She did not take
she
it.
did not- I mean,
She did not take it as the compliment. It was
it was
obviously
meant complimentary.
to her defense, I think there was a lot of drunk people in that night.
Yeah.
And it was the end of the night, so she
and
probably...
we were just the end of the
yeah,
line.
you was the end.
I was the last guy that night to call her autistic.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
wrote the straw to break the camel's
Yeah,
back right
so
there.
that was awesome, and I felt. It's funny. It's like I didn't even think anything twice about it until you brought it up later.
You said it so quick, too. I was impressed. Like, that's probably the funniest part is, like, there was not even, like, a hesitation in you, like, maybe I shouldn't call this girl autistic.
Yeah, because late night Andy is not the most tactful
The filter is
person.
very slim.
Yeah.
He gets a little Carl at the end. It's just
My inner Carl comes out, and it's
pops in, everything just comes right out.
I wish Carl got like smoother as he got drunk, but no, he just gets more Carl.
He just smiles more. That's it.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, does a lot of put the hands on the head and shake after he realizes he says something he definitely shouldn't.
Well, gentlemen, I think before we say anything really bad that we regret, I think that's the last call.
Well, wait, are you guys getting shut off right now?
No.
Are we all getting kicked out?
No, but we are at 59 minutes and 50 seconds.
I was trying to make whatever.
I've had more than one. I'm not cut off.
Last call. That means that, yes, even Dan and Andy are getting kicked out of this podcast right now. We got to finish
That's
up our
fine. We
thoughts
get
here.
kicked out, just not shut off.
Never been shut
I
off.
can't wait till I'm going to totally shut you guys off.
I was going to say the next time we go to Speedwell,
I have the power.
you're like, I have a beer. That guy shut off. Fuck him.
Last call, the portion of the episode where we just kind of wrap up our thoughts. Thanks for listening to our war stories. Guys, listen, I'm going to use my last call to say, if you listen to this podcast and you've got war stories of your own, this podcast gets better when you share questions or stories of your own with us. Give us something to talk about at Bar Talk Cast, bartalkcast at gmail.com or
Maybe
at
you're
Bar
shut
Talk
off.
Cast on Twitter. Yeah, I don't know shit, right? And Facebook. Send us your questions. Send us your stories, suggestions, or complain. We don't care. That's my last call. I want to hear from you guys. Next up, let's go with Andy.
All right. So check out the Inebri-Art podcast and go to Inebri-Art.com and check out what we have coming up for Art Week. It's the last week in May.
April.
Last week in April, first week in May. And we got lots of events planned in Plymouth and surrounding areas. And you can check all that shit out there. And if you see someone at Speedwell getting their first beer slapped out of their hand by the owner, that's probably going to be me.
Can't wait.
All right. I'm going to.
I don't think you're not part of this.
Last call.
I have a goddamn live mic. I'm going to use it. It's my edit. I can say what I want.
Yes.
I'm going to thank Carl of the New World Tavern for not being here and thus letting us.
Every time.
All right.
Not being here and thus letting us record in his back room.
Right?
Thanks, Carl, for being busy.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I'm going to use my last call to shout out Snarls Barkley. She's wearing the cone of shame right now, so she needs some extra love, so you can go see her on Instagram at Snarls Barkley, the Frenchie, I think. Something like that. Just look it up. Or just find mine.
I was waiting for Andy. It looked like he was going to close it out.
No, that's your job, man.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody, for listening.
Just a reminder, we have an Instagram.
We have an Instagram. Bar Talkcast is the Instagram.
Yep.
And like I said, Twitter, at Bar Talkcast. Gmail, bartalkcast at gmail.com. God damn it, I got it right. And then Bar Talk.
So proud of you.
On Facebook. Please like us, follow us, email us.
Leave a review on iTunes.
Leave a review on iTunes would be great. Subscribe, download. Thank you all for listening.
Unsubscribe and then resubscribe.
Do it
right?
as many times as you
Does
can.
that work? I don't know.
I don't think that really
It
works
doesn't
that
really
way.
help.
Well, if you got plenty of time, you're looking for some time. That's
Make
fine,
another
as long as
iTunes
you
account.
end on subscribe. But thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time until I shut you off.